Friday night. Oh, it's been a long one. We're here.
Yeah.
We're here. It's the weekend. It's Friday. Cool. You can tell I've had this distinct lack of sleep this week.
You've gone delusional.
Yeah, it's unfortunately we've got the 100-day cough in the house. I haven't got it. Rosie's got it, and she's been yeah, fucking cough. Which means that obviously she doesn't sleep, neither do I. So I think I've managed just about to break double figures in total from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night. So I am ready for a good night's sleep tonight. That's all I can say.
Sounds
All
like
right.
it
So you've got the questions. You're going to
I
shout.
have.
Yeah.
We're having a role reversal this evening, aren't we?
Yes. You can shout the questions out, and then we can answer them. And then we've got a couple of other. Well, we'll see how long it takes.
Yeah.
We'll see. Cool. So first question.
So first one is, what are macros? So full understanding what macros are, why they're important is your first question.
I'll let you take that one.
Oh, okay. So your macros is short for macronutrients. So everything in terms of your food substances, they will contain macronutrients and micronutrients. Your macronutrients are what our body needs in large quantities, hence being macro, and your micronutrients are in small quantities. So your macronutrients, really there's the three, when people talk about your macronutrients, there's three main ones that they're focusing on, which is fats, carbohydrates, and proteins, which is what your foods are made up of. They can contain, depending on what food it is, like more than one macro. They won't just fit into as one, but they will contain more levels of one than the other, if you like. And then your micronutrients are your things like your vitamins and minerals, basically. Alcohol can sometimes come in when you're looking at your macronutrients as well. But when people are talking about your macros, you're mostly focused on your carbohydrates, fats, and your proteins. They are the ones that then contain the calories. So when you are looking at tracking calories, you're tracking macros. So you'll see like some people look at trends of if it fits your macros, and that's their way of doing their calorie deficit, basically.
Yeah.
So your fats contain 9 calories per gram, and then your carbohydrates and your proteins is 4 calories per gram. So that's what makes up the total calorie content of that food, basically. So yeah, it's just what our bodies need to function, in short.
It's spot on. And people overcomplicate it when they're thinking about macronutrients. So you'll see a lot of people online talking about tracking all the macros.
Yeah.
And it's not really that necessary. And it overcomplicates things. And I think for a lot of people, it can put them off. So when they worry about tracking all three of the main macronutrients, and you're given these macro targets, and the other thing is there's no magic macronutrient target.
Nope.
People talk about the 40-30-30 split, with your carbs, fats, and proteins. There's no such thing. And I don't know if I haven't seen this for a while. There used to be a guy called V-Shred who used to go on and talk about, do you remember V-Shred?
Yeah.
So he used to talk about like body types, ectomorphs,
Yes.
mesomorphs, and endomorphs.
Eating for your body types and all of this.
It's all rubbish. And he used to give you this macronutrient split for like depending on what your body type was. It's a load of rubbish. Essentially, calories are king, regardless of what your goals are. Calories are king. So if you want to maintain weight, calories, lose weight, calories, survive, it is calories. Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Because we need calories to function. Then it's protein. So we need to make sure we get adequate protein to grow muscle, maintain hormone function, enzyme function, all of these things, important things that goes on in our body, immune system. Then it's fats. So then we need to make sure we get enough of the essential fatty acids. So, roughly fats have been demonized. And at the moment, there's a big trend about we need to eat loads and loads of fats, and with the carnivore diet, and we've covered this one before, but it's a massive worry at the moment. I honestly believe, and I know that there's a lot of nutritionists and a lot of cardiologists who agree with this. I think this is going to turn out to be the most harmful diet fad
Mhm.
ever to have
Yeah,
come out. The
absolutely.
carnivore
Yeah.
diet is just so really high saturated fat, and your saturated fat intake is directly kind of related, and this has been done through all sorts of randomized controlled trials. So increase your saturated fat intake, you increase your LDL or bad cholesterol level, and then that is directly correlated to your risk of cardiovascular disease, risk of stroke, heart attack, all of that sort of stuff. So yes, you need fats, but it's the right sort of fats.
Yes.
Try and keep saturated fats to 10% or less
Yeah.
of your daily calorie intake, and then the rest being unsaturated. And aim for, as a good kind of good way to kind of aim for it, is around about 0.75 to 1 gram of fat per kilogram body weight, roughly.
Yeah.
That's a ballpark figure. But yeah, other than that, it's
Yeah.
kind of eat what you like. And
Basically, yeah. And like I say, when we set the program, when we set up the calorie ranges, all we focus on is your calorie range
yeah,
to keep you in the deficit, and your protein.
yeah,
Because we're keeping your protein high, it's going to help keep you fuller for longer.
yeah,
And it's, obviously good for your muscle building, muscle repair, and all of those things. But that's the only one that you'll be set. Your carbs and your fats, you can set however you want.
yeah.
So it's up to you. Some people enjoy eating more. Lando's trying to pull my laptop off the desk. Lando, some people prefer eating more like fats and less carbohydrates, and some people it's the other way around.
Yeah.
So as long as you're eating within that deficit, then you'll be fine if you focus on your protein.
Yeah, and then also with the in terms of like the proportion of fats to carbs, and this is actually a really good thing to kind of be aware of. So different kind of populations will fare better with more fat and slightly less carbs. So, for example, if you are a woman who is approaching or going through perimenopause or has gone through the menopause, then actually a slightly lower carbohydrate diet. We're not talking like drastically cutting it. We're talking about slightly reducing your carbohydrates. So,
Yeah.
in terms of kind of quantities, you're probably looking at around about 2 grams per kilo as a rough ballpark figure
Yeah.
if you wanted to put a number on it. And then maybe a slightly higher fat one. So maybe going for the 1 gram of fat, in terms of,
Yeah.
if you wanted to lose, if fat loss is the goal,
Mm-hmm.
because of the way that the female body metabolizes fats and carbs, which is something that we picked up on in that seminar. So yeah, and then men do slightly better on higher carbs and lower fat. So, but again, it's maintaining a decent fat level so that we can
Yeah.
function. But yeah, that's it. That's macros.
That's macros. So your next one is, which I think links into some of the other questions that we're going to focus on, was what does it mean to be eating at maintenance? Like, what are your maintenance calories? What does that mean? And how do
Right.
you work them out?
So maintenance is effectively the calories that you need to consume to maintain your body fat levels,
Yeah.
right? And it's just energy balance. So, energy in, if energy in equals energy out, then you maintain your body fat levels and should maintain roughly your body weight. Now, this is where we kind of, so we're looking at, and I know this is, we're looking at doing a diet break. And one of the things that we've discussed with the girls on the program, and we've discussed last week, is that a diet break where we eat up to maintenance, where we eat a few more calories, it can mean that your scale weight goes up, but it's not fat, because if
Yes.
you're eating at maintenance, your fat levels cannot go up. So maintenance calories means you are consuming the right number of calories for your levels of activity. So therefore, you haven't got any excess calories, so you cannot store them as fat. Right. So that's the first thing to realize. But as we always say, that scale weight does not equate to your fat weight.
Yeah.
Your scale weight can fluctuate because of water weight, because of food in your stomach, because of muscle mass, because all sorts of other things. So we've got to remember that if we're having a diet break and we are consuming more food, first of all, you are going to have more food in your digestive system. Therefore, weight will go up. If you're consuming more food and you're fueling your body properly, it's going to store glycogen in the muscles and the liver. And for every 1 gram of carbohydrate stored as glycogen, 3 grams of water are held onto. So your body weight is going to go up. None of that is fat. So maintenance calories are the calories you need to consume to maintain body fat levels. How we work it out. So you can go on calorie calculators, and there's loads of PTs will offer their calorie calculators for free, and they'll go, yeah, we'll calculate calories. You can go onto Google and type in calorie calculator, and there's loads on there for free where you enter like your age, your height, your weight, your gender, activity levels, and it will give you your calories. And you can go on loads of them, and there's lots of different equations. You've got the Harris-Benedict equation. You've got there's a Metz equation. There's the San Mifflin Jaws. I can't remember that. There's lots of them.
There's loads of different ways.
Yeah, there's about 5 or 6, but they're all estimates.
Yeah.
Every single one of them is estimates because they're based upon a statistical analysis. They just look at loads and loads of different people, different height, age, weight, gender, and roughly work out what those people's calorie expenditure will be.
Yeah.
It cannot take into account ethnicity, which will have an impact. It cannot take into account the different genetic sort of traits and differences in metabolism from one person to the next. Can't take into account conditions like PCOS, thyroid function. So there are lots and lots of different things that these things cannot take into account. So at best, they are estimates.
Yeah.
Simple as that. All of them. Can you hear the coughing?
It's all right. You've got the coughing. I've got the dog. Like, we're really professional on this evening.
But oh, bless her. She's dying. She is dying. So yeah, so all of these things are estimates at best. They all kind of boil down to, and the estimate, the equation I use is simple. It's your body weight in kilograms, and then you can multiply it by 20 to 24, and that is the number of calories, roughly the calorie range for most people that each kilogram of your body will burn. Yeah. So every kilogram will burn between 20 and 24. So you kind of give yourself a calorie range, and that is your BMR. You can then apply what we call a physical activity level, and that ranges from 1.1, which is sedentary. So, you know, you've got a desk job, you don't really move around, up to kind of 1.7, 1.9, sometimes even more, depending on how active you are. So if you've got a job where you're doing sort of 12,000 steps plus, you're lifting stuff around, you're carting stuff around, you're on the move all day, then you're going to burn more calories. So therefore your activity level goes up. But even with all of this, it's still an estimate. Yeah. So they can come up with this rough estimate. And the only way that you are going to work out what your maintenance calories are is to eat to that estimate and see what happens to your weight over time.
And that's it. Like, you've got to give it time is the other thing. Yeah. You can't just do it for one or 2 days and be like, no, scales are going up, we'll drop it. Like,
yeah, because as we've just said, that if we work out what your maintenance calories are as a rough estimate, and then you eat to that, if you've been in a deficit, you're suddenly consuming more food, your weight is going to go up, and it will go up quite rapidly over a short period of time. Eat like that for a couple of weeks, that will then plateau. And if your weight after a few days then stays stationary, then you're probably at your maintenance calories.
The other thing, I guess, to remember for females is it may take a little bit longer to work out because your body will change depending on where you are in your cycle. So not only will it be just your daily weigh-in that can fluctuate for all those reasons we said before, is depending on where you are in your cycle, that can also affect your scale weight. So you might have to look at it over a period of 2 months and compare your week 1 to your week 2 and so on, just to get more of an accurate representation of that.
And one thing I will say as well, there's this big thing about reverse dieting. You'll get a lot of coaches who'll talk about, you know, once you've been in a deficit, you need to reverse diet to boost your metabolism. No, you don't. The best thing to do is basically try and ramp your calories up to close to maintenance as quickly as you can. So, you know, you work out a rough idea of what your maintenance calories might be. So for example, let's say you've been in a deficit of 500 to 600 calories. And that is the deficit that you're in at the end of your fat loss phase. Okay. So we know that you're roughly in a deficit of 500-600 calories. You've been losing about a pound a week. We're then going to up your calories. We work out what your maintenance is. I would then suggest upping your calories to around 100 calories. Within 100 calories, bless you, within 100 calories of your maintenance, and then eat at that and see how that goes. Yeah. And then, yeah, just track your weight. Your weight will go up because you're eating more food, you've got more water weight, but just see how it goes. It does take time and it'll take practice and it is patience, but you've got to understand that, it's just, this whole thing is a learning curve. It
Absolutely. Yeah.
absolutely is a learning curve. And the mistake people make is that they expect these fast results. And this is why one of the things that we try and do with the Shape Up program is get you to embed routines and behaviors. If you are trying to maintain your weight, and this is what we're trying to sort of coach the girls in with the diet break, you don't change all of a sudden what you're eating. It's eat as you have been before, but you might just have a little bit more freedom. You might add a few more carbs in. You might, you might be able to have that glass of wine at the weekend. You might be able to enjoy that little bar of chocolate, or when you go for coffee, you could have that cake.
Yeah.
That's the thing that it's allowing you to have. It's not saying, right, we're going to have pizza, burgers, and fries for every meal. It's keep eating what you have been doing.
Yeah.
And then just add the extras in a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's kind of, I think that's what eating at maintenance looks like.
Yeah.
So how we work it out, we've talked through that, but yeah, it absolutely will cause your scale weight to go up, but it's not fat. That's the hardest bit. And having gone through a massive fat loss phase and then suddenly trying to not have to track and learn how to maintain weight,
that's the hardest bit. I think sometimes once you understand how fat loss occurs and once you're into that routine, it then becomes quite easy in a way. The majority of the time, there'll always be small barriers and things to overcome, but I think maintaining weight can sometimes be the hardest, because it can vary so much. It's a lot of trial and error, and like you say, it's so hard not to get caught up on that scale weight jumping up potentially. But remembering that it's not fat gain.
And this is one of the reasons why we do try and this is not suitable for everybody, as the girls on the course on the program know. It's not suitable that everybody weighs daily. Some people can handle it better than others, and and that's the same for everybody. But having that understanding that your weight is going to fluctuate and that it will fluctuate for lots of different reasons, and we try and remove the fear around that number. That's the key thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Next question.
And then your next one and your last one is, why does strength training help lose more weight than cardio?
Do you know what? It's a bit of a myth. They both help with weight management.
Yes.
In terms of weight loss, exercise is not that good.
Yeah.
It really isn't. I mean, so if we sort of think about and I've done this on post before, but if we think about our total daily energy expenditure, it's made up of your basal metabolic rate, so the calories you burn doing just living.
Yeah.
It's your non-exercise activity thermogenesis, which is the stuff that you general activity, not planned exercise and activity. You've got your thermic effect of food, so that is the energy that your body burns digesting food. Then we have exercise. And in terms of how it's broken down, for most people, about 60 to 70% of your calories is your BMR.
Yeah.
Right. Then it's about 15 to 20%, depending on, roughly how active you are, but about 15 to 20% on average is your NEAT, or non-exercise activity thermogenesis. 10% is your food digestion, and then 5%
is your exercise.
All right. And if you've got somebody who is on average burning 2,000 calories a day, then that is only 100 calories per day on average. Now people go, oh, well, I burn more than 100 calories doing exercise. I go to the gym and I burn 1,000 calories in a
My
workout.
Fitbit.
Yeah, my Fitbit tells me that I burn 1,000 calories during a workout. No, it doesn't. It might tell you that, but they are notorious. So they've done studies on this, and they are notoriously inaccurate for, because again, it's based on modeling. So it's based on, you can put your age, height, weight into that, and it will give you a rough idea based on your heart rate of how many calories it thinks you're burning. It can be wildly out, like 100% out. So
Yeah.
you could, if it's told you burned 800 calories in an hour doing like some devil spin class, for example, then you might have burned 400 calories, which is actually, for a spin class, if it's an hour long, is a reasonable amount. Yeah. Most people, certainly women who do tend to burn fewer calories because they are smaller. So in a half-hour workout, they might burn what, somewhere between 150 and 250 calories.
Yeah.
That's about it. And if you're doing 3 workouts a week, and let's say you really push it and you're burning 250 calories in a 30-minute workout, that's 750 calories, which works out at around about 100 to 110 calories per workout, per day.
Yeah.
Done. Yeah. So, and that's it. So exercise is not the best thing for fat loss. It can help with weight maintenance. So I'm not saying that we shouldn't exercise, because actually it can help with weight maintenance, but the benefits for exercise are beyond that. So it's cardiovascular health. So if you're doing cardio, then it's going to be your cardiovascular health, your lung capacity, breathing capacity, VO2 max. Yeah. So that's the body's ability to take oxygen out of the air and use it in producing energy within the body. And then your strength training is for maintaining and building muscle, which we've said a number of times is massively important, because after 30, you can lose up to 10% of your muscle mass every decade, which is, when I first heard that number a few years ago, that terrified me.
Yeah.
But just by strength training and eating enough protein, it really can stop that and even reverse it and build the muscle up. So which is better? I think they've both got the part. Personally, I prefer strength training. The reason I prefer strength training is because if you build muscle, it means that muscle is more metabolically active than fat. It burns a few more, not a lot, but a few more calories, and it can help you maintain your body weight later. Also, if you've got more muscle, you've got more capacity to store carbohydrates, which means that you're less likely to kind of put body fat on. It means that you're more insulin sensitive as well. So muscle is more insulin sensitive, so it can reduce your risk of things like type 2 diabetes, amongst other things, and other metabolic disorders. Yeah, so I prefer strength training, but I also include cardio in my training. So I do a mixture of both.
I think from what I see it as is, I think a lot of people, when they think about weight loss, is it isn't always about the scale weight. And when people think, oh, weight loss, it's how your clothes are fitting, it's how you look at yourself in the mirror.
Yeah.
And actually, what you'll notice more with strength training, because you're building muscle, it will change your body shape more than cardio.
More. Yeah.
So that can also be why it can maybe seem more effective sometimes,
Yeah.
is because you'll notice more drastic changes in your body shape than if you're just doing solely cardio. That's not to say you won't notice changes, but you'll notice more from strength training. So that can sometimes be why it looks.
Yeah, and also with that, actually, what we've got to remember is, when we're in a deficit, your body's not just going to take the calories it needs from body fat. It will muscle is expensive to maintain. So your body will say, hang on a minute, I've got some muscle over there that's expensive to maintain. I need to reduce the number of calories I'm burning, because you ain't giving me enough to survive. So therefore, it's going to break muscle down. To stop that, we need to eat enough protein, but then we need to strength train, because if we don't, the actual process of fat loss is going to lead to muscle loss. And we get that, the phrase skinny fat. Yeah, which then also means that it's harder to maintain that new lower weight.
Yeah.
So strength training will help maintain your muscle mass and then help it make it easier for you to maintain the weight loss, the fat loss, particularly fat loss, afterwards as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Is that all the questions?
That was a good one tonight.
Yeah.
Quick easy one.
I mean, all I really wanted to go through as well, and this is for the benefit of the girls on the, as well as anybody who wants to listen and get some advice on diet breaks. So we talked about diet breaks in a bit more detail last week, but the key thing with diet breaks is it's just giving your body and your brain the chance to kind of relax from the
Yeah.
process of fat loss. Fat loss is hard, right? It's stressful. It's stressful on the body, it's stressful on the brain. You've got to think about what you're eating all the time. You're trying to change and develop habits. Also, one of the things when you've been doing fat loss for a while, you have to learn how to maintain the weight. And why not do that at the same time as going? So have
Yeah.
that diet break. So do an 8 to 10 week period of fat loss, then have a week, 2 weeks of a break, and still maintain, maintain your eating habits, have consistent breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Just don't track.
Yeah.
Because at some point you are not going to want to track your food forever.
No,
Right.
absolutely not.
And it's right. Maintain those eating habits for a week at a time and practice every sort of 8 to 10 weeks, practice doing that. And sort of trying to maintain that weight. And it's something like the first time you do it, you might find that you go, oh my God, I've just hit the sod it button and I've had a week off and I've just gone a bit crazy.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's absolutely fine because it's a skill that we got. You're not going to get it right first time.
No, and you will learn over time.
Yeah.
Like what that then looks like. And like you say, it's you won't get things perfect, but actually, it's like we said before, making mistakes is how you learn. And you can then sit back and reflect and be like, okay, we decided to have a break. This is what happened. What can we do next time?
Yeah.
So that doesn't happen.
Yeah. And it's like, because a lot of people, when they do the first diet break, they don't plan the food.
Yes.
It's like, actually planning your meals and there's more benefits than just fat loss. Actually, you know what you're going to eat, you know what you're spending, it's cheaper, it's easier to go shopping, because one of the reasons people have so much difficulty around managing weight is because they don't sort of think about what they're eating, and they get to like now Friday, it's 20 to 9 on a Friday night, and they're knackered. It's like, right, what am I going to eat? Oh, I don't know. Uber Eats. There we go. Domino's. And it's just dead easy. And actually, still planning means that it's a habit that we're trying to encourage you to keep. And that is something that's going to help you maintain the weight. It might well be that you are too afraid of completely taking the stabilizers off for a week, and you do track and oh, hang on a minute, that's not right either. So you aren't going to get it right the first time. If you do, you're lucky, but then be aware that if you do it again in 8 weeks, you might not get it right that time. Yeah. So it's a learning curve, and that's absolutely normal and it's absolutely fine. And if you do need sort of a bit of support and advice during that, then obviously you guys are doing the shape up, reach out and ask for it. But in terms of the kind of the diet break, just maintain what you're doing. Maybe don't track. Just keep the food habits going. Okay. And just practice things like listening to your hunger cues. Think about the hunger scale. 1 where we're absolutely starving, 10 is fit to bursting in terms of you're stuffed. We want to be satisfied. So eat until you're satisfied. If you've eaten a meal and you want a dessert, leave it 10 minutes. Do you really want the dessert? If you still want it, eat it. That's fine. And then other things as well is, check your thirst. Are you thirsty? All these little strategies and things that we get you to do, practice. Put your knife and fork down between mouthfuls. Make sure your mouth's finished before you start shoveling in the next mouthful. All of these little things. Yeah. So there's lots of stuff like that. What I have put together as well for the girls is just a little roughly 2-side document. I think it's 2 sides, about a page and a half, A4 page and a half
Yeah.
document of like a couple of bits of pointers around diet breaks, frequently asked questions, especially talking about scale weight and what's happening. So have a read through that. But yeah, just ask for support. And if anybody does listen to this and they think actually that document around diet breaks might be useful,
Yeah.
drop me a message, or drop us a message, and we can perhaps send some stuff over. But anybody who wants this sort of coaching and guidance, enrollments are now open
They are for the next one.
for the next one.
Absolutely.
And and so yeah, absolutely sign up. It's £129. You get the coaching, you get access to the app, workouts. We work out, you can, as Alice said at the start, calories, protein, recipes. I need to count how many recipes. There's like
A lot.
160, 170
Yeah.
recipes.
Recipes, your workouts, everything's there for you.
Everything's there, and you get access to us when you need us as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. I think that is it. We were going to talk about the menstrual cycle. We keep doing this.
We'll save for next week. We're fine. We'll go
I
for
think,
next
well,
week.
next week is that break week. So I think we won't do a questions. I think we'll do the menstrual cycle next week,
Absolutely.
which I think will be an interesting one.
It will. Absolutely. Yeah, I think so.
Cool.
Looking forward to it.
Right. Speaking of eating, I am going to go and have some tea now.
Yeah. I was,
Well,
I had mine already. I was lucky this evening. Got in early enough to cook.
Oh, nice. Well, I was coaching till 8 and then jumping on this call. So I'm going to go and see how the invalid is in the house.
Yeah, you
So,
enjoy.
yeah. All right, guys. Until next time. Bye for now.
Bye.